Welcome to the 1-0 podcast with the man you know as Don Dishes, Dontay Reynolds, joining the show today. As you're going to see him regularly this season, and we're going to be exploring baseball's humanity and numbers to understand the Seattle Mariners beyond the surface this year. I know we talk about a lot about the numbers on my channel, but we got to talk about the culture as well. And we got Dontay Reynolds here, the man, the voice of the Teal Sleeve Boys, the man you know as Don Dishes, the most famous Mariners song out there, definitely on social media, across all these platforms. You've heard him. You've seen him. Dontay, how you doing today?
Doing well, Dom. How you doing, brother? Thank you for that intro too. That's love. A lot of love.
Absolutely. I'm doing well. I'm fired up. We've got 2 days till opening day. 48
Yeah,
hours
man.
from now. I mean, what about 50 hours from now? We're going to have a lineup for opening day.
Oh yeah,
So we got a lot to talk about. Make sure go sub to Dante's channel as well. I'm going to leave that in the description. We're going to have a collab on YouTube. You can do that now. But anyway, yeah, we're going to compare the StatCast and analytics side of things with our own eyes and ears to understand, players, coaches, support staff, the culture, because we've talked all about the numbers this offseason, but the Mariners culture in 2026, why do you think, Don, I'm going to call you Don. Do people call you Dante
yes,
usually?
yeah. That's love. Don is good, brother. Don is good.
Yeah, I mean, the more nicknames you have, right, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, it just
People call
means
me
you're messing
Dom.
with the. Yeah, you're messing with the people if you got more nicknames. That's
People
all
call
that
me
means.
Dom, Dominic, Skeen, all sorts of things, over
For
my
sure.
time. But, uh, opening day in just 2 days, where do you see the Mariners culture going in 2026? The culture with this city was such a huge part of what happened in 2025. What are your priorities for the Mariners culture moving forward in 2026?
Yeah, man. The priorities for me, as a, you know, maxing out on home games kind of guy, really tightening the culture, locked in with the guys. It's got to be about. It's a winning culture, of course, but I feel we've got to bring some of that intimate inside culture out more this year. Just really be hard on your sleeve. Everybody behind one voice, one movement type of deal. I feel like we've come to get that. We've really gelled. We've got the unity. Um, you know, Besides the little tiff taffs, that we know about, but that really doesn't shake the foundation of the squad. I feel like the guys are, they're locked in. They're friends, they're family. We got a lot of guys who got babies now. They're locked in on that type of, genre. That's different. When you're a father and you're fathered up with your squad and you're out there battling, the culture gets real tight. So I just want us to lock into that. I want us to lock into that unity and yeah, be yourself out there. Really shine your light. If the WBC showed us anything, like just shine your light.
Absolutely. I mean, the cultural kind of piece of this clubhouse is definitely took a hit when Gino Suarez left. As you watch my show, you
Yeah,
see all offseason we talk about the numbers in T-Mobile Park, not good over the course of really a 170 game sample. The Mariners tried it twice with Gino Suarez. It did not necessarily work from a hitting standpoint, although he's got some of the biggest home runs in Mariners history now. How do you replace a guy like Gino Suarez in the clubhouse? What is this team going to have to do to make up for that subtraction?
yeah. You don't replace it. You remember it. You remember the vibe that person left in the squad. He impacted so many guys. He'll never leave that clubhouse. Good vibes only will never leave that stadium. There's no way it could. He's really left an impression. So I think all you do is build off of it. You turn to guys who have that vibe inside of them, who want to get out there and yell at the guys to keep moving, and the gas is on go at all times. Yeah, and just bringing that same thing out of people because he left that with us, and it'll never leave us, and we love him for it. Salute Gino. So yeah, you tap into it. You just tap back in.
Absolutely, because I remember these days in the 2010s with the Mariners where the best players in the Mariners, is it Kendrys Morales, is it Mike Morse,
Mm,
as far as position players. Obviously, you got Felix Hernandez, Sashi Iwakuma, Kyle Seager, but it felt like that was it for a while. Now 1 through 26 on the roster, which we broke down the roster last night.
mm.
All these guys seem to play an important role in the culture. I mean, going with Mitch Garver as the backup catcher over Andrew Kinsner, who I was a big Andrew Kinsner fan for what he brought to the table. but it seems they are prioritizing bringing back guys, keeping a strong clubhouse together this season. It's just definitely something you wouldn't have seen with the past regime with Jack Zarenzik, with Mariners baseball really for a lot of the 50-year history. And this being the 50th season that's about to kick off this week, really, how long, you've been a Mariners fan since the 90s. I mean, when I was, barely born. So what, what do you think this regime has done to build that culture that these other, these other eras of Mariners baseball just failed to do?
I don't know. I'm not sure if the other eras have really failed. I think maybe this era is taking a chapter out of the old book, seeing that we're going into this 50th to celebrate everyone. I think I think they're just opening the door to being like, yeah, man, it's been a long journey, and we all have contributed to this, and we're kind of just embracing that more. If it wasn't apparent, I think now it's gonna really be the life force of the squad. So I think we're just opening that chapter really heavy right now. Like, yeah, man, like look into this way that it's been, because if you look at the old clubs, if you look at the days of like Harold Reynolds and young Griffey and them and Griffey Senior, there was that love. They really were a tight club. You saw when they celebrated, it was everybody, even inside the diamond. Like a crazy out was just like all daps and getting close. I've been just watching the old films, so I think they're just opening up the book, and I love it. Let's read from that chapter and take it with us.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why this Believe era of the Mariners in 2021, one of my favorite
Mm,
Mariners teams that narrowly missed out on the playoffs, but the chaos ball, the control the zone philosophy, having that lineup
yeah.
of, Ty
That was
France and
Mitch Garver too, with that box, man. I found that out. Not to cut you down, I did find that out. Like I made a T-shirt that he was doing this, and I was wondering, and
oh yeah,
Novak
he
told me, yeah, he was like the zone. He loved that. Like he coined that, and
oh, that's why
hopefully he
he
got so.
okay.
Yeah, that's why he does that. So yeah, bring it back, like looping back to the culture, man. That's why he's still here. That's why he gets another shot, because he's a guy who's in the clubhouse, keeping guys on point, showing up. He plays hard ball. Like a lot of guys, they wanted the other option. I respect it, but yeah, I think we're just leaning on that veteran perspective, that been here, done that, and to run it back.
He is like a timing master with his swings. He's all about the
Oh
timing with
yeah.
Mitch Garver. So that's, you see him not hit any homers the first, what was it, 2.5 months of the year last year. And then in Chicago in
Hmm.
that weekend series, now I'm just remembering right, he hits a double dong, 2 homers in one
Right.
game after. So
Yeah, man.
that's exactly who Mitch Garver is. If he gets hot, I mean, he could put up another, 10 to 15 homers off the bench, getting barely 300 at bats. He could be on like a 20 to 30 homer pace. We've seen him hit 25 in the big leagues before, and he's been a good defensive catcher as well. So that's one of definitely the most surprising uh, players that made the opening day roster. The other ones, I mean, Cooper Criswell and Emerson Hancock kind of sharing that fifth rotation spot in Bryce Miller's absence. But I also want to give you a chance to talk about a guy who you definitely have been a fan of for quite some time, who made the opening day roster, a little bit surprising, had a really injury shortened 2025. Ryan
Mm.
Bliss.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. The boy. Ah, man. That's a dog right there. That's a dog. Getting to see him play in Rainier, for the Rainiers in Tacoma, I should say, just opened my eyes to, man, we really have prospects. We really have guys who are out here playing hard every day, going crazy. Him, Samad, a lot of other players, but we'll stay on Ryan, of course. It was tough to see him go down with that injury because he was blossoming. At least that's what I saw. I saw the kid killing it, grabbing bags, coming up clutch, when he's up, showing up, and getting that move up from AAA. So I was like, yes, you know what I'm saying? And to see that, that was tough. But, to see the resurgence, to see him on that list, it's refreshing. Always still saw him in the dugout. He was still showing up. You saw his energy. He stayed around the ball because he knew he was coming back. And so, yeah, it's gonna be bliss to see the boy. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be great.
Absolutely. I mean, he'll have a little bit of a runway to play. JP
Hmm.
Crawford's injury, no idea still how long that's going to
Right.
take. A lot of people are
Right.
really optimistic about this JP Crawford injury, about this Bryce Miller injury too. Two kind
Hmm.
of separate circumstances. Where Bryce Miller, I know it was a strained oblique, but I talked about yesterday. I mean, he's got the bone spurs in his elbow, and that causes the rest of his pitching motion to have to overcompensate. And so I think the oblique still stems from the issue with the elbow, kind of compensating for it. And I don't really know how there's a path forward in the long term without
Yeah.
probably a longer absence for Bryce Miller. Then with JP Crawford, it seems like, I mean, he would be playing now if it weren't for, if it were the playoffs, or if it was a tight division race in September, he'd be playing right now. He's just trying to exercise extra caution so that once he hits, once he gets into the season, that he can be kind of the Iron Man type guy that he usually is. I mean, as a more of a kind of a slender type guy, right? He, is another, like Ryan Bliss too, being so explosive without having as much muscle on your frame, being kind of a lanky guy, it can allow you to get injured more. So, it's happened to Ryan Bliss. Happens a little bit with JP. Obviously, he's also aging, with the shoulder. But however long JP's out for, Ryan Bliss gets a runway. If Ryan Bliss can be the control the zone guy, I think that's how he gets into a lot more playing time there at at the middle infield spots. Cole Young being a lefty, right? I think Cole Young is going to get a huge runway as well. One of my most popular topics of the offseason was Cole Young, but and how he's going to emerge, and I mean, he's definitely underrated. But Ryan Bliss, works his way into playing time. You never know. Anyway, moving on, talk about the 50th season. You've got something really interesting going on with the 50th season, so I want to let you have a chance to talk about that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just an idea guy, So coming up with we're coming into the 50th anniversary, and of course Randy Johnson retiring his number this year, 51. So it was just kind of a no-brainer to think of it as the year of the 5150. And I kind of mocked up a patch and just started talking about it with other people, and just trying to have some just some building around that, because it is an epic moment, and it's cool to just look back. Just hit YouTube if you're any watchers or viewers who are inquiring. Just YouTube the Mariners, and just 90s, or the start of their surge, and it really is nice to see that journey. And it's going to be cool to see the archives open up, and the audio visual guys let us see some of these old clips, and have other players, old players, come out on the field and talk about it. Maybe it'll be a cool year. They've been kind of tight knit, if you've watched their social media, they've been tight to the cuff on talking about anything or dropping anything. So it'll be cool to see it drop out. But yeah, I've just been drawing up stuff and doing my own thing. I got some T-shirts, so I'm always cooking ideas, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're definitely got some surprises in store. Let us know in the comments if you have any ideas for what those surprises might look like that the Mariners are keeping in store for the 50th anniversary. It's definitely something they like to in these days. Like, I mean, their marketing team is killing it. I saw they have the salmon race now sponsored by Brooks running shoes. I think that's an excellent idea. Local brands, local brands that are like already national brands too. There's just and that ties into the culture of just having a connectedness within the city. People who might not be as into the Mariners, might not care about the analytics and the stats and all this stuff. You need everybody in Seattle to try to pack this stadium that's 47,000 odd people. The reason the Dodgers get such a large presence in that stadium, I was in LA pretty recently, and so many people wear Dodgers hats. And you see them, right? A lot of those people don't watch baseball. A lot of them do, but a lot of them don't. And if you want to have a connectedness to the city, that's why, like, early in the season last year, the Mariners were losing a bunch of games. I just said, all I want to see today, right? During one game, I was like, just play for the S, right? Like, let this S mean something.
I hear you.
Play for the S, right? Don't be, like, because when you don't, I mean, it feels like those teams in the 2010s, which all respect to them. I mean, I grew up watching those teams, but it did feel like a lot of individual millionaires going out there trying to do their job. And, they're going to work, they're trying to do their job, and they're all trying to make something happen, but there wasn't this connectedness as a team. And other teams definitely had that in those, those years. The Red Sox won multiple World Series doing that. I mean, the Cardinals made it to the to the postseason a whole bunch in that era. Yadier Molina, guys like that. So that's really what we're trying to see happen for years to
Definitely.
come in Seattle.
Oh, for sure. And we definitely want to see it translate from the guys on the field to the seats in the stands. That's why I think, like you mentioning Brooks running shoes with the salmon run is dope. Connecting, cross pollinating, those things are amazing. I want to see um, those things really flood the stadium and flood the concourse and start to become really the bloodline because it is important and it doesn't have to be national. It can just be local, like play for the S. It can really be a city love thing, and that would be great to see more of. Things like seeing local foods that are popping up into our concourse and getting served, to the fans, and just more of that, more music, all of that, everything from every little granule piece that we can make unify. We should, because that's just how you do it. In LA, they've just done it forever, and that's why you see that hat being worn by baseball lovers and non-baseball lovers alike, because it's a city love.
And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people in LA, right? There's a lot of
Oh, so many.
so
Yeah.
many people. Obviously the Dodgers have been around longer, but that's not the reason,
Mm.
right? They're a good
No, no.
team.
Hmm.
It's even when they hadn't won the World Series for however many years, since the 1980s. There was a 40-year gap, whatever. Even like going to the World Series, like 2020. Before that, I think it was in the early 1980s that they made the World Series the last time. It's like they had that connectedness to the city, and the Mariners are finally reaching that. Like that's why people see, like when the Mariners win or make it to the World Series, even like that is going to, it's going to mean something in a different way than the Seahawks did. The Seahawks winning their second Super Bowl means a whole lot. I mean, absolutely, but it's the Mariners winning their like winning their first AL pennant. It's something that they've been so bad, for longer than the Seahawks. Like it's just gonna mean something
It's a tough
different.
road.
Yeah, I mean, it is fun to look back on all these different Mariners teams that had
Oh yeah.
tons and tons of losses in the early 2000s. I mean, after the 2001 team, the teams that were good and didn't make the playoffs because the way the playoff format was in
Right.
2002 and 2003, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. So also, I want with the culture, right? One thing that the LA Dodgers have, right, and LA, New York has something
Hmm.
similar. But baseball is really kind of needs the cutting edge of, and you're on the cutting edge of this. Baseball and rap music. Where is Seattle rap taking? And where is the Mariners music scene? Both with what you're doing with it and the Mariners music scene in general. Are there any other artists contributing? Where has that gone this offseason? Any big changes we should know about?
Yeah. So with the music and with making it, just to give you a little bit of a eyesight on it from my perspective, when you're making music, you're just making music. For me, I'm just making music. I never really make a song and I'm just like, yeah, that's gonna be for this. When I did make Teal Sleeves, it was out of an essence of, oh, we need this, like we might need this battle cry type of vibe. And Paul Stitch God telling me, yeah, go for it, bro, like lock in. So I think that really when it's music like guys walk up songs or whatever's being played in the house, it's just something that's been picked up or felt, and vibrated through the city, and on people's playlists more than likely. Now, living and dying by a Spotify playlist is the worst. So I hope our music culture doesn't go by that. But just tapping in on, what's really driving a force, what's really making people move or dance, or what speaks Mariners but speaks city. Really going back to that city love, and that's why I've got a few coming. And I don't see a lot of other people doing it. I'm not trying to take away from anybody, but I don't see a lot of other songs coming out. But I do have a few coming this year, and I think there's just a lot of music that's come out. That's a lot of war cry, battle cry. Get with your buddies and go get it. But there isn't a lot of Mariner stuff, right? So I've kind of got that vein tied up, And there's been other things that have come across, but yeah, I'm looking to really build something this season where it's like these songs have been hit and they've laid down the law on how to like just play something when we need it. So I'm really excited for that. And Teal Sleeves, the verses will change. The guys will change. Of course, the players get traded. It's unfortunate. So the lyrics will change, but that hook is forever. And I think that's the statement with most of the music that you want to be played in the stadium or for the fans and for the squad. It can translate season to season to season. So yeah.
I was literally in the gym this morning, just singing to myself in my head, JP in the clutch, yeah, that oughta make him
Yeah,
hush.
man. Yeah, man. That'll never die. Like that's just so solid. Shout out to the captain. It's just things that you see, and that's what that song is. That song's a translation of going to 60 plus home games and chopping it up with the fellas, dapping up. Let's go get this dub, even when it's a loss. We back tomorrow, just hungry, seeing them make plays, seeing the vibe, seeing the fans, being out there with the people. And I feel like if the music doesn't come from that, then that's why it goes pretty quiet. When it's just like, let's do it, it's like, whoa, like there's a lot more behind let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys are out
Exactly.
here really putting it on. Like this is their livelihood. So you really gotta feel it, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, rap is, basketball definitely probably the most of the major sports is broken into rap music. Like LeBron and Jordan, balling like LeBron, balling like Jordan. We talked about this
Right,
a little bit
right.
last time. Like,
Hmm.
what are some examples of rap, like rappers actually, big time mainstream rappers mentioning baseball players in their music? Because I can think of, like Kanye West had the song Barry Bonds on Graduation,
He did. Wow, yeah, that's a great one. I
and
love
then
that one.
like I know like
Um,
Aaron Judge had like a song like by Logic, right?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
at
he
some
had a
point,
logic joint. I'm trying to think of people who've really like um
like bars.
dropped names. Yeah. I know I've heard Nomar Garcia Parra's name in a song from the
Oh
90s.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I've got to do some research. I know I've heard his name. And then, of course, Jay-Z not mentioning a player, but saying I made the Yankee hat more famous than a Yankee can.
yeah,
So
exactly.
that
That
one's
was cool.
infamous. Yeah, that
Um,
one's infamous.
Shout out. There's like this random Florida rapper that I came across one time. His name is like
Okay.
Perfect Timing, and
Mm.
he had all these crazy like Griffey references, stuff like that. He had some
Oh, word.
baseball references. This dude must have played or been watching baseball a ton. Shout out to
Word.
him.
Yeah.
Like
Or you hear some guys say they're Pin Griffey,
oh yeah, like
some guys who write
Bryson
rhymes say
Tiller,
Pin
I
Griffey.
think
Yeah, Tiller, there we go. Yeah, they'll say
is
they're
that.
Pin Griffey. Yeah, so you'll see references, man. That's a great question. Next time we come together, I'll have a few quotables for you for sure. I'll do some research.
In the
That's a
comments, I
good one.
need y'all to let us know what are some baseball name drops in music. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't forget definitely my favorite one of all time. This song like is for some reason it's not available in the U.S. on Spotify or whatever, but the
Mm,
Flo Rida, Ichiro's favorite
mm.
rapper, has
Oh
the
snap!
song
I did not know that.
Let's Go. He has this whole song where it's like a remix of his like one of his
What?
songs, and it's like Let's Go Ichiro. I ain't never
That's
seen nobody hit the ball so. They play it in the
that's
stadium
crazy.
too.
I gotta hear that. And that's Ichiro's favorite rapper.
It is like there's one
Nuts,
somewhere like they
nuts.
published an Ichiro playlist one time, and it was like
Yeah.
mostly Flow Rida, like
Flow Rider. Hey,
seventy
say that
percent
then.
Flow
Okay,
Rida.
Ichiro.
And
Okay.
I mean, Flow Rida, had some very. I mean, he's had some big hits and stuff, but
Oh yeah,
that
he was killing the game.
oh yeah, he's on top and
Pop
stuff.
hits though. He had pop,
Yeah, he's in that
pop
like
bangers.
pitbull type of vein of pop
Right,
club
right.
music, but like
Yeah.
his Ichiro rap song, I'm gonna show you after this. He obviously can't play it
Yes,
on here because
please.
I'm gonna get
Yeah,
copyrighted to
yeah,
death. But
yeah. We
shout
don't
out
want
Flow
that.
Rida, shout out Ichiro,
Yeah.
um,
Shout out
and
Ichiro. That's awesome to learn. That's awesome.
I mean I always listen to like Lil Baby, No Fly Zone because Julio posted
Okay. Yep.
and
Of course. Of
you
course.
know. But speaking
Dang.
of, we got to
Yeah.
talk about Julio's catch in the WBC.
Oh man, my boy went crazy, didn't he? Yeah, that catch. Nothing new. I want to make sure we know that nothing new, but man, amazing, amazing. The boy's a tracker, man. When you're an outfielder, that's what you do. You track a ball. Like I was an outfielder. Of course, people look at me like, "What? You an outfielder?" Let me get the glove and go ahead and put the machine up and pop that thing. I'm getting that. It's about tracking. It's about reading where a ball is going to go, and being on that before it. And he's one of the best at it. That's a long-winded way to say he's just one of the best at tracking. So
Absolutely. I mean,
yeah,
crazy,
man.
just to be that tall and that lanky and have that agility and that athleticism, just insane.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then
Like you
also,
said, yeah.
like the WBC, if there was ever a bigger lesson in culture, I think
Oh
this
man,
WBC has to be it because obviously, the
facts,
Dominican
facts.
Republic comes out with the crazy culture. Everybody talks about them. I thought Venezuela did just as much
Oh
though.
yeah,
Watching these, I mean, you
oh
see
yeah.
when William Abreu hit that homer against Japan,
Mm-hmm.
how
Oh
they're
yeah,
jumping out the dugout, they're going absolutely
epic,
insane. That
epic,
honestly
bro.
strikes fear into the heart of the opposition because not only are they going to, they're going to have good players, right? They've got great
Mm-hmm.
players, lineups full of major league stars. They got Jackson Churio hitting ninth, who's definitely a top 50 hitter in baseball, if not a
Right.
top 50 player. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
and he's also one of the youngest guys. I think he's still going to be one of the top 10 youngest players in the MLB to start the season this year. Uh,
Wow.
Yet they've, obviously Acuna, and then Will Abreu, a platoon bat last year for the Red Sox, hits this massive homer. And you know that not only if you give up a homer are you going to, it's going to hurt the score, right? But it's also going to, like, the momentum is going to go, just ballistic. Like, at the level of a college football game,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you see the stands, right? All the drumming, the noise making. That's a culture.
So
And when you
dope.
have a
Yeah.
culture, right, then you're playing for the name on the front of the jersey. You talk about play for the S, right? Those guys were
Right.
playing for the Venezuela on the front of the jersey more than the name
No
on the
doubt.
back by far. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but the
100%.
DR and
100%.
Venezuela, right, that was a big lesson in culture. Then the U.S., I mean, excellent team, definitely, and they would say themselves, disappointing result.
Right.
And it definitely, I'm sure they had the best scouting reports. Even though Andy Pettit said at one point, like, oh, we haven't watched the Dominican team yet, something like that. It's like the U.S. is going to have some of the best scouting reports. They're going to be, I mean, they were stoic. I kind of understand their philosophy of why they, did what they did. But just because, I say on this channel, obviously, the name of the podcast, want to know, because we go want to know every pitch, right?
Right.
Memory of a goldfish. Don't worry about what happened the last at bat. You got to live in the now and live in the present,
Mm-hmm.
but also make it about something bigger than yourself. All glory to God, and then stay stoic. And those two things kind of fly in the face of each other sometimes. Is how it feels because you make it about something bigger than yourself, but also you're trying to go want to know in live in the moment, and then you're also trying to stay stoic and control what you can control. But the way you balance that, like sometimes controlling what you can control is having the culture, is bringing that excitement.
Right.
Um,
Right.
what
100%.
lessons did you learn from the WBC as far as all
Uh,
that?
yeah, like just like what you said, and you said it very well. You covered the bases. It's they were playing for that name on the front, the name on the back. It might as well not even been stitched. It was all about that name on the front, that passion, where we're from, what we came here for. We all got together. We all don't see each other. It was like a family reunion. If I had to link it in with black culture, it was like a family reunion on every team. Well, for most teams that I saw, right, when I observed, if you were really locked in, it was, man, it was dancing, it was, my bro, it was love, it was, Bizardo with Venezuela and the drums. I hit my boy. I was like, you got to bring the drum to Seattle. Like that is just, it's different, man. You're tapped into it rhythmically. You're tapped into like old times. You're reminiscing and you're talking about it. Like some of these guys came through, the channels of youth growth ball together, and now they're at the WBC. Like, bro, look where we're at. So that's why when those comparisons of World Series and it's better than or bigger than, some cats got a little upset, or Derek Jeter was like, well, then you must have never played in one. So maybe some of these guys haven't, but look at this grand scale and look at this platform, and look at the love, and look at the look at the love. And yeah, Venezuela, against, was it Korea or Japan? One of the two. Both games were great, but both teams are amazing, and the caliber is so crazy that, like you said, when the momentum shifted, all you saw was this like, so you knew, like, yeah, if you give up a home run, you might have just gave this team a chance to win right then, just right then. That slip is so critical. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I learned that you really just have to love it. You got to love it to death. Yes, it's paying you. Yes, it's a game. Yes, there's an etiquette that maybe people have shown you before. But I mean, it's 2026, man. Like, we don't have to act like we wear suits and ties out here. Like, you guys wear uniforms and you're having fun. And you were a kid when you started playing this game. You're still a kid. You're just a big kid. We're out here with big kids. So you gotta have fun, man. And you're gonna win if you have fun, as we saw.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where, I mean, again, people get tied up in one part of it and then they miss the other part of it. This is what's important for the Mariners as they begin the season. It's like you can, and I thought the question that was asked of Julio, right, where it's like, oh, is the WBC, like you said, right? Oh, and then he gives the answer, oh yeah, like winning the WBC, this would be everything. This would be,
Right.
more important than the World Series. It's like if I was to ask Cal Raleigh, right, what's more important, opening day or the World Series? He'd say, well, I gotta win this game to even get there, right?
Right. There's steps.
The most
There's levels.
1-0. It's 1-0. It's the most important game is the
Levels.
one that I'm playing right now. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, any sort of like narratives to come out of that is, in the idea that these guys don't care as much about the MLB. To me, it's like he's just going 1-0. He's living in the present. The most important game on opening day is going to be game one, and the most important game on on Friday is going to be game two. So, like, if you're not going 1-0, right? If you're looking ahead and looking behind, then I mean, you see where that can, end you up. I mean, like the Mariners only made, they only won in 1995, right? The Angels blew this massive lead right after August, and they were reeling. Their culture was they were having like fights or something, right? They were playing poorly, and then the Mariners' culture got red hot, right? They're a red hot team. They're playing together. They're saving the city, and they blew this massive lead. If they were looking ahead or looking behind, right? Like the California Angels are like, oh, we've got this massive lead. We can look ahead. Obviously, you don't want to think like that, and these
No.
professionals are not going to think that way. But it's crazy how how hard this stuff is, and this is part of why the Mariners actually have a mental performance coach.
Right.
I think his name, I don't want to get it wrong, but I think it's Adam Bernero or something like that. He's one of the best Instagram follows, definitely. There is.
I'll
So
look him up. Yeah.
yeah, but like they hired this guy a couple years ago, and it's no coincidence that the pitching is so good, the hitting is so good, the fielding obviously, and those coaches are amazing as well. The base running, I mean, these guys stealing bases that you wouldn't expect. These guys fielding well. Like, and just as impressive was like Jorge Polanco coming on as a defender in the second half of the year in ways that I didn't think that he could.
Right.
Like all these different areas, right? Part of it is that you can't worry you just can't worry about this stuff. You like 1-0, right?
Every time, man. Yeah, like you said, if you're looking forward and looking back, you're not going to see what's right in front of you. You're going to miss something. So yeah, you got to just take it one step at a time. And yeah, I just think some people were really sour about what they heard, some of the guys say, and it is what it is. People are going to be in their fields because they feel a way. Their journey went a certain way, so they hold certain things higher than others. And that's awesome. Good, great, and good on them. But we have to take a step back and let somebody live their journey. And, I love that 1-0 statement you just made. Like, yeah, my journey, I'm running it right now. Right now is the most important game. And tomorrow will be the most important day when it's tomorrow, So,
Yeah. As far as the being the cultural correspondent, that's kind of how I see you as, the 1-0
Yeah.
podcast cultural correspondent.
for sure.
How important are the vibes to this whole thing? We talked about Gino Suarez, the good vibes only.
Right.
But how,
Yeah.
we talk about all this, mental performance, but how important are just the vibes, this whole thing?
Yeah, I think they're heavy, heavy, heavy on a squad because a squad is like a family, and if you have a family dynamic or you have a pet or you have a significant other, there's ups and downs. It's a roller coaster, as they like to say in the metaphors way. It's going to be a string of events that you'll have high highs and you'll have low lows, and you also have those middle gray days that don't make sense. So you're going to need the vibes and the understanding, the believe mentality, the slap the top of the tunnel as you run out mentality, that camaraderie. You're going to need that because you're going to have days when not everybody's on point or somebody's low and you got to pull them up, and it's just going to be a thing. Julio and loving One Piece and loving Luffy, like that energy of we're hunting for this one thing, and it's the end all of all things. It's the ultimate treasure. That's what we're doing. That's what that ship is. That's what that ring is. That's what our team is doing. You know what I'm saying? If we're all in a ship and we're all pirates out here, bro, we're trying to get it. So you're going to need the vibes. If there's fighting like the Angels in '95, you're blowing it. If there's mass hysteria about a handshake, you're blowing it. If there's discomfort with one guy between another guy, and Dan can't get them together, and we can't gel. It's over. So the vibes are so serious. I can't stress it enough. But a guy like Julio, he's gonna bring the vibes, man. A guy like Robles, he's gonna bring the vibes. Rivas, vibes. Bliss, vibes. We have so many vibe guys. Miller, even if injured or not, vibes. Um, we got guys who show up for each other, and it's gonna work out if we stay in that mentality and we just don't let that fuel gauge drop.
Absolutely. With the fuel gauge, I like, you bring up the handshake, and we're not going to talk about it too much.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
hasn't been said already, but I was just thinking, I'm like, I mean, obviously, first of all, they come together, play for the S, right? It shows how much bigger it is
right.
than one single guy, and how that
Mm-hmm.
happens on opening day. But I was just thinking, man, if Cal gets on base ahead of Randy in the lineup, and then Randy goes and hits a bomb behind him, right? Imagine, how like in football they've had
Yeah,
the
when they
imagine the handshake at the plate that they do as a celebration.
Yo, it's pretty crazy, right? Because they will. I mean,
It's gonna go mega viral. And I was thinking, like
it's gonna go mega.
in the NFL, like there was I forget who, like they would do the
Oh,
go for the chest bump, and then at one
right.
point like they went for the they went for the chest bump, and then they shake their head, and
They
then they
shake it
go for the
off. Yeah.
handshake, and
Right. Right.
something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that would be cool. No, I hear you. I'm in the same realm. And we're not gonna talk about it crazy, but of course it shook things up, and it did what it did, and we're in where we're at. But I got love for Randy Rosarina all day long, every day. And I got love for Cal all day, every day. So as long as we tap in, we're good. And yeah, I mean, I'm dropping something later today, in honor of Randy. That's hilarious. I made a beat
Let's
and put it to some
go.
visuals. But just looking at those visuals, if you check it out, there is exactly what you are saying, where Randy hit a bomb, Cal was on, and so was somebody else, and they lined up just like you're saying. And just watch it for yourself. Just watch what you can see from previous, and understand that I'm pretty sure we'll be right back to that.
Tap in. Is that gonna be on the Don Dishes Instagram or the Big Man Tiny Mike,
That'll
or both?
be it'll be on both. I try to cross pollinate, but yeah, it'll premiere on Don Dishes.
All right. Make sure you
Yeah,
tune in. So, Don Dish is obviously the rapper magnate that you know and love. He's also doing his thing, with the Big Man Tiny Mike, where he speaks on Instagram. And now he's had his first official media pass and he had it
sure.
actually at T-Mobile Park. Was that
Yeah.
just your first at T-Mobile Park, or was it your first time being a credentialed media member altogether?
First time credentialed media wise ever, man. It was a great milestone. Big ups to Mookie Gates. Big ups to T-Mobile Park. Big ups to Steelheads. Big ups to the HBCU series. Like it was just love in the room, and I was happy to be there. Blessed to be there. So yes, First time media credentialed, got to bring my camera, was there to take photos for Black Baseball Mixtape, and do a little bit of interviews if I could. So yeah, it was blessed.
Absolutely. What do you think about the HBCU Classic? How could you see that growing in coming years? How was the experience this year?
Yeah, for sure. It's a beautiful thing. It was dope last year too. Dope this year as well. My only grievance, and I don't want to speak poorly on anyone. My only grievance is just we got to get the word out a little more strong. We just we gotta do that. I think there could have been a lot more attendance because there's a lot of people fiending for baseball right at that moment when that HBCU Classic is. I think a lot of those cats just don't know that there's ball right down the street and it is raining, but we closed the roof, so it's still popping. So just get the word out a little bit more, and it was good vibes. The team showed up. Seattle U, shout out to them, and Jackson State, big shout out to them. Those guys showed me a lot of love. I was trying to talk to Seattle U, but I don't think I was actually like allowed to. So shout out to them for letting me know and being respectful about letting me know. But yeah, Jackson State was cool, man. A lot of young ball players, hungry, traveled long and far to be there, and just to see them perform at a big stage was crazy, man. To see some of those cats hit home runs there, hit home run, like what? Nuts.
Absolutely. And I mean, I remember when they had the Swingman Classic back in All Star Week, kind of the
Yeah,
first thing of the
yeah.
festivities. That was cool.
Hmm.
Definitely a lot of things. Shout out to Baseball Beyond Borders and Buki Gates and
Right,
all that
right.
stuff.
Yeah, don't leave them out. Yeah, don't leave them out. My bad. Yeah,
But
Beyond Borders is a beautiful org. Beautiful org.
absolutely. In addition to that, I want to talk about kind of, we talk about the culture a lot, right? There's one, there's a guy, right? A guy who would be eligible for Team USA in the future, one of the top 10 prospects in the MLB right now, Max Clark. Obviously,
Yeah.
you've seen what he did in spring training. If you haven't by
Right.
now, what happened, right?
Yeah.
Detroit Tigers prospect, white dude with a mullet, right? He's
Yeah. Got the
looks like a
flow.
high
Got
school.
the flow.
He was a high school hitter in the draft, number 3 overall pick, right behind Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz, and
Hmm.
actually drafted in Seattle. And he's making his way through the minors. He's had really good statistics. He's a really good kind of 5-tool player, good plate discipline, all sorts of things that are going to work at the next level most likely. And he comes out and he's got 4 or what was that, 5 diamond chains just glistening in
Oh
the spring
man,
training
he was
sun.
he was he was shining. The boy was
He
shining.
got his crazy, I mean, the Pit Viper sunglass type things, the Oakleys,
Right.
whatever they were.
Hmm.
And he comes
Yeah,
out and he's in the
styling him.
outfield, and then he makes like 4 errors. He doesn't set his feet throwing one time.
It was
Let
not
something
great.
like bounce off, bounce the wrong way. And, people are saying, oh, he should stop wearing his chains and start worrying about, outfield defense. How did you feel about this whole situation, Don?
Yeah, man. First and foremost, shout out to Max Clark, man. Shout out to the boy. He's a young bull. He's out there, doing his thing. And I think more importantly, watching him, he's doing what I love. And I know a lot of, I guess, coaches and people may feel, I don't know, they might feel sideways about it, but he's leading with his heart. He's leading with the passion. You can see it. You can clearly see it. I know a lot of people don't want to see you chain blinging, swaggy or whatever, but that's how it is. I don't. I'm sorry to break it to you, old heads, but you're gonna be out here with your cleats looking fresh. You're gonna want to have an identity, whether it's 5 chains or it's a wristband or it's a armband. You're gonna do your thing, and you're gonna want to be you, and that's what he's doing as a young prospect, as a young ball player. So let him come into his own. Um, the mistakes out there, we watch veteran guys make those mistakes. So I mean, I've yelled at a veteran guy, 2 hands, use 2 hands. You just dropped a ball. If you had 2 hands, you might have cradled that and caught it. So he's just a young cat making young mistakes. They look magnified because the chains got diamonds? 1,000,000%. Unfortunately, that's how that goes. But as you see, he's still hitting the ball. He's still showing up with play discipline, and he's still making plays after making the mistakes. I think the one where he slipped on the foot placement. I mean, if you really want to get critical on that, that was right on the cut of the grass, so it was more of a momentum and stepping thing. So if you want to be, and the ball still got to the cutoff. So if we want to be mad, I mean, it was just bad timing and placement. But the other ones, yeah, we got to catch fly balls. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm excited for the young guy. I'm excited to see him play. My grandfather loves Detroit, so I'm sure I'll be watching Detroit games. So yeah, I'm excited.
Absolutely. I like it too. I mean, when I saw him a couple years ago, like in the minors, like getting drafted out of high school is one thing. I don't even think he had the tattoos yet. It wasn't like quite as apparent that he was going to be this,
Mm,
super swaggy dude. And then I
mm,
see him with, a bunch of chains and a bunch of tattoos, and I'm like, this
yeah,
guy is, totally personifying this aura thing that the kids are
right.
all talking about on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Max Clark is aura farming, and I honestly support it. It's like I want baseball to compete with I want baseball players to be able to compete with these other athletes on social media followings and stuff, because you see the
definitely.
social media following of like Tarek Skubal. Last time I checked, I think he had like less than 200,000 Instagram followers, like 190. And I mean, there's a lot lesser known baseball players with 500K, but it's like
Right.
the MLB is consistently, lagged behind in getting these stars the platform they deserve. I mean, why do not more people know, who Jackson Churio is? Just something
Yeah.
about playing every day, and something about baseball. Regional sports networks for a long time, people could blame, but it's there's really no, there's no excuse when you're trying to silence, these players, and trying to tell them just do things. And Robinson Cano was a Mariner who people got on
Yeah.
all the time for being, like they thought
Him.
his style was lackadaisical, right? And it's like,
Right.
and to a degree, right? Yeah, like you do not want to try to just go out and say, to your like you're if you're a kid, right? And you try to replicate what Robinson Cano does, you're gonna learn all the wrong lessons. Throwing like
Yeah.
from the side, right? Throwing this like curveball to first base,
Yeah.
playing like play super relaxed and whatever, and then running through first base is important too. You got like guys like Brendan Donovan who have that a little bit of that old school, but
Oh yeah, hustle dog. Yeah,
but
100%.
it's like you got to be yourself. You got to be, Julio's got to be effortless. Brendan Donovan is going to be full of, like grit and toughness and like hard, kind of school of hard knocks type thing. So,
Mm,
like, guys got to be who they're going to be. And when you evaluate a player as a scout, you see, like, who are they, right? What are they, how
right.
do they achieve power, speed? How do they show up on the field? And that's all part of it. Like, you can't completely silence a guy. You can coach
Right.
him, to
For sure.
do certain things better, and you can coach and hone the skills, but you start out with a big hunk of metal, and then I mean you got to sharpen that sword the way you do.
Right. Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, I like that at the end, the sharpening and molding the thing down. And when you mentioned like, yeah, kids shouldn't look to Robinson Cano to learn how to play ball in development stages. But after, that's why the coaches and the whoever's teaching them, mom or pops or grandpa, grandma, will show them the Brandon Donovans first, or the hustle players. You're gonna show them, you're gonna point them in that direction first. I mean, you show up at the field and you see Robbie out there being Robbie. He's being him, but he's a player to look at later. And I guess some things from older heads like Charles Barkley when he was like, "I'm not a role model. That's not even a real thing." These guys aren't role models. So when you're looking for who to look at, I think it really does define, and it lets you know who's helping these kids. Like who's the mentor? Because who's letting you think that you can lazily run to first? Because
exactly.
I mean, a random kid's gonna be down on himself when he hits a little skid of marink. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't think he can go to first, but whoever is helping him learn the game should have sparked in him. You can still get there. There can be a mistake. Make them make a play. Run hard.
If you're a
That's how I think.
coach, yeah, if you're a
Right.
coach, take it upon yourself. I mean, you
Mm,
got to have kids when you're out there, like being a kid. Make mistakes at 100 miles an hour. Don't overcoach
right.
them. Don't kill their love for the game. I mean, that definitely
Right.
has happened to a lot of people that I've talked to. In their,
For sure, brother. Yeah.
just being kids playing baseball, and that hurts
Mm-hmm.
not only the players that end up playing baseball professionally or, at higher levels, but also just the people that watch baseball later in life. They think of, oh, baseball where they coach this way and they push the culture in this direction.
Right.
They
Right.
um, that's not something you want to happen.
For sure.
And one more question for you before we get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta ask you about, I see you wearing the steelhead cap from
Yeah.
last year.
No
What do you
doubt,
think
no
about these
doubt.
new Steelheads uniforms the Mariners are going to be wearing on Sundays?
Yeah, I'm excited to see them. I'm excited to see them pop out. You know, we got to see them when they reemerged, so that was cool. But to know now that they'll be the Sunday's best, kind of like the creams used to be, that'll be cool. I mean, R.I.P. to the cream joints; those were so fire. So I do love those. But yeah, to show love to the Steelheads, to the Negro League, to the to the guys who came before and laid the foundation down. It's like, why not? You know, why not? Then they're really cool. It's a cool uniform. I would love to see them get the hats to the to the new era joints, but it's still a good hat. You know, it's still a good hat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see them. I'm excited to see if we change our City Connect this season. I don't
I
think we
think
do.
next season is
Next season,
supposed to be
okay,
changing.
got you,
Yeah,
got you. So yeah, then yeah, Steelhead will be fire. Connect will be what it is. It'll be cool to see. It'll be cool to see.
absolutely. Um, just so you know, Don is going to be coming
Yeah.
on every Tuesday during the season. So the saying goes, another Tuesday. We're going to be talking about the culture, talking about I mean, we're going to be talking about the numbers so much on this channel every night, right? Recap the swinging strikes and everything. That's all still going to be here. But on Tuesdays, we're going to try to mix things up. We're going to talk about so we're going to have Thursday opening day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is going to be another nationally televised game. That's Sunday Night Baseball on Peacock, and then
Okay.
Monday and I haven't even gotten that far in the schedule, but Monday's game we should have as well. So we'll have about 5 games to talk about, and I'm
Yeah.
expecting you to to see some things in the culture, see
No
what
doubt.
you're seeing, and when we reconvene next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about exactly how the Mariners culture is, which in season, I mean, you can't completely reshape a swing on a Tuesday, but you can go out and try to get the culture going again.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So excited for that. Make sure to go keep up with what Don's doing. Obviously, he's going to have that little Randy tribute out today. The
Yes, sir.
5150 project coming. Some new Mariners stuff coming. Yeah, he said might be a new version of Teal Sleeve Boys 2.0 or something coming.
Hey, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so
yeah, man.
yeah,
Get ready for it. Get ready for it.
and we have just 2 days till opening day, so gonna have to go and make my predictions. I'll be back here tomorrow to talk to you guys about all of my predictions for the season. I guess one more thing. Any
Yeah.
predictions you want to state on here before we reconvene next Tuesday for the season? Breakout players you
Ah,
have, breakout anything about the team.
yeah. Not quite. I know. I'm anticipating my boy Bliss to ball out. So that's one thing I'm gonna say. Breakout Bliss. Hey, breakout Bliss. Just hashtag it already. Breakout Bliss. First home run I'm gonna predict is hit by Victor Robles.
Ooh, I like that.
And yeah, man, I'm just gonna say we get the W. You know, we're gonna opening day get the dub. I have to be starting there because that's the trajectory we're on, right? So yeah,
Absolutely.
those are my quick predictions. Quick predictions.
All right. Well, we'll be back next Tuesday, and we'll have plenty to talk about. A whole lot of baseball, and yeah. Let us know. What rap songs. What rap mentions of
Oh yeah.
baseball lyrics did we forget? That's
Mhm.
something that we're gonna have to talk about next Tuesday.
For sure,
If
for
you have a
sure.
good comment, if you got something that we didn't mention, we'll definitely be sure to shout you out. So that'll be the comment question of the day. Anyway, with that being said, we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Remember, as long as you go 1-0 every pitch, stay stoic and give all glory to God. You can't lose.
Yes, sir.